From Kern Government Television, welcome to this week's Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting, originating from the County Administrative Center located at 1115 Truxtun Avenue, Bakersfield, California. Kern County's vision is to create and maintain a customer-centered county government designed to garner the confidence, support, and trust of the people we serve. Today's Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting will convene momentarily.
Okay, good morning. Madam Clerk, always nice to see you. Would you please call the roll?
Supervisor Gleason.
Here.
Supervisor Scrivener.
Here.
Supervisor Maggard.
Here.
Supervisor Couch. Supervisor Perez.
Here, thank you. Good morning, Kern County, and welcome to the Tuesday, October 20th, 2020 meeting of the Board of Supervisors. We will begin today's meeting with the flag salute led by our very own and veteran Supervisor Mick Gleason, Following the flag salute, please remain standing for a moment of prayer, silence, or meditation, whichever you prefer.
Please join me in saluting the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. At this time, as we do every Tuesday, I would like to call Mr. Nick Colin, Director of Animal Services, to come out with our precious pet of the week. Oh, look at that.
Good morning.
Look at that blood stripe, how precious. Wow. Who do you have here?
I have with me this morning Gizmo. Gizmo's he's an old boy. He's about a 10-year-old Lhasa Apso mix. We always have a soft place in our heart for the older dogs because we know that they've been in a home at some point, so they have a harder time adjusting to the shelter. But he's only been with us for about 24 hours. He came to us yesterday.
Oh my goodness.
So we're seeking somebody to give him a foster home temporarily, just so we can help him recuperate and recover and then hopefully find a forever home.
Oh my goodness. How old would you say?
He's about 10 years old.
10 years old. My goodness. Well, as they age, Nick, they get more needy and more costly, and a lot of people cannot manage that for whatever reason. I think that's a real shame, but it's a reality, and we're so grateful for families who will step up and care for these our furry friends in the last stage of their lives. So thank you. We don't just bring puppies out here, we also have senior dogs, because all dogs matter, as you know, and we love them, and we want to take care of our senior pets as well. So Nick, thank you.
Thank you.
For all your love and graciousness to our little friends. Good luck, Gizmo. The County of Kern has provided notice that as a result of the declared federal, state, and local emergencies due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and in light of the governor's order, this Board of Supervisors meeting is not physically open to the public. Testimony and general public comment can be given through email or telephone to the clerk of the board prior to today's meeting, and live comments through teleconference will be heard during the meeting. We will begin by considering the consent agenda. All items listed with a capital C, capital A above the item are considered to be routine and non-controversial by county staff. Consent items will be considered first and may be approved by one motion. If a member of the audience wishes to comment or ask questions regarding an item or items on the consent agenda, they may do so prior to a vote being taken on the consent agenda. A member of the board may remove any item from consent, and it will be considered in its listed sequence with an opportunity for any member of the public to address the board concerning the item before action is taken. A member of the public may also comment on any closed session item. Madam Clerk, do we have public comments regarding the consent agenda?
We do, Madam Chair. Did you want to list the agenda item, the consent agenda items, or should we hear from the public first?
I can list the consent matters.
Okay.
And then we can take a comment.
Okay.
And determine if any matters need to be removed or dealt with independently.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Madam Clerk. The Consent matters begin on page 2, and they include items 1 through 5 and item 8. On page 3, items 9 through 15. On page 4, items 16 through 23. On page 5, items 24 through 28 and item 30. And finally, on page 6, items 32 through 35. So, Madam Clerk, do we have any public testimony regarding the consent items as just listed?
Yes, ma'am. We do have 2 callers on the line who would like to address the board concerning item number 32, and we're going to start with Reina Olagis. Ms. Olagis, if you would unmute your phone by pressing *6, you may address the board.
Hello, good morning, welcome.
So my name is Reina Olagis. Hello?
Yes, can you hear us? I can hear you.
Yes, okay. Yes, I can hear you now. Thank you. So my name is Reina Olagis, and I am the founder of Adelante Strategies. I founded Adelante Strategies in 2016, and it's a public awareness advertising media agency. And we're just here to, for the good of Kern County, to make sure that our communities get the information that they need so that they could thrive. And in this case, it's the COVID-19 outreach education, normalized testing, and encourage them to take safety precautions to slow the spread. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
We also have, Madam Chair, members of the board, we also have Thomas Warren who would like to address your board on this item. Mr. Warren, if you would unmute your phone by pressing *6, you may address the board.
Good morning, Mr. Warren, are you there?
It's Tom Edmonds, Edmonds.
Forgive me, Mr. Edmonds, welcome.
I want to address this and ask them to not approve item 36 or 32. There's quite a few controversial groups linked to this. The United Farm Workers and people that want to unfound the school police or unfund it. So I would like them to think this through and maybe conduct a little investigation and see where this money's going through this Adelanto Strategies or outfit, and maybe send the money to the county fire department instead.
Thank you for your comments. Madam Chair, that concludes public comment on consent agenda items.
Okay, so do we have any comment in writing?
Not on consent agenda items, no.
Okay, I understand. I believe that several board members would like to pull that matter from consent. So if so, now's the time to do it.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, I'll pull item number 32 for separate consideration, and then I'll make a motion on the remainder of the consent agenda.
Okay. So we have item number 32 pulled for separate consideration. Any other comments, gentlemen, before we proceed with the vote?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on consent with the removal of 32. So without any other comment, please cast your votes.
The motion is approved, 4 ayes, 1 absent. Supervisor Couch.
Okay, thank you. Public presentations. Madam Clerk, what do we have?
Madam Chair, members of the board, we're going to start with Emma De La Rosa, representing Leadership Council for Justice and Accountability. She submitted a letter to your board that was emailed to you yesterday. You also have a hard copy of that correspondence in front of you. So, Ms. De La Rosa, if you would unmute your phone by pressing *6, you have 2 minutes to address the board.
Good morning, Kern County Board of Supervisors. My name is Emma de la Rosa, and I'm a policy advocate with Leadership Council for Justice and Accountability. I'm here to elevate the need to publicize the health equity metric plan. Thanks to Mr. Constantine, who did send out that plan to me for review and was open to suggestions. I really do appreciate that, Mr. Constantine. But I do want to make sure that we are all aware that COVID-19 is disproportionately impacting our disadvantaged communities, particularly Latinx communities, right? And these members of the community are running the economy, which is one of your main priorities. And so in order to make sure that the economy continues to run, we need to be providing them the utmost resources to ensure infection rates decrease in those communities. So we do urge our public health department to publish and make the health equity metric plan available to the public for full transparency and accountability. And we also recommend that COVID cases and test positivity rates within those 35 census tracts are on the plan and published on the website to help identify trends and outbreaks for more effective outreach efforts. And we also urge the board to establish enforcement protocols against employers who are not protecting workers, not providing PPE, and who are not complying with the state law to notify workers of exposure and notifying workers of their rights. In doing outreach, we know that essential workers are not receiving any type of mandatory training on how to protect themselves and their rights to compensation. If we want people to stay home and protect themselves and others, we need to be providing them this information, and they need to be compensated. We already have a huge homeless population in our county. We do not want to worsen that issue in our county by not providing any type of compensation and not providing them information on their own rights. We also suggest collecting information on employment, voluntary information on employment, to help identify those work sites who may be suffering from outbreaks and not necessarily bringing it up to public health. So we do welcome the opportunity to collaborate and participate in stakeholder meetings so we can continue to provide recommendations. And we are very happy to hear that that building healthy communities is part of that plan in order for our county to do the specific outreach that we need to meet this new metric. It is important to directly fund local organizations who have deep relationships and trust with vulnerable communities. So thank you very much for your time, and I hope you consider all of our recommendations.
Thank you for your call.
Madam Chair and members of the board, the next caller in the queue is Nadine Escalante. Ms. Escalante, if you would unmute your phone by pressing *6, you have 2 minutes to address the board.
Good morning. Okay, sorry. Good morning, Board of Supervisors. I just wanted to take this opportunity to thank Supervisor Perez's office and Supervisor Maggard's office for participating in a community meeting last month with a few businesses here on the east side of Bakersfield. The business owners were very thankful for your guys' time. Thank you to Mr. Flores and to Mr. Romo for attending. Thank you.
Thank you. That's a nice change of pace, Mike.
Our next caller in the queue is Eric Arias. Mr. Arias, if you would unmute your phone by pressing *6, you have 2 minutes to address the board.
Can you hear me?
We can. Welcome. Good morning.
Fantastic. Good morning. This is Eric Arias here on behalf of Assemblyman Rudy Salas to present this morning on items number 29 and 31 on your morning agenda. Chairwoman Leticia Perez, members of the board, thank you for the opportunity to address you this morning on behalf of Assemblyman Salas regarding the COVID-19 health education outreach and resource items that are before you this morning. Assemblyman Salas strongly advocated for and supports the allocation of resources to trusted community partners who have a successful and proven track record of improving health outcomes here in the Valley. Partnerships such as Building Healthy Communities, which includes Visión y Compromiso, Dolores Huerta Foundation, Líderes Campesinas, and the COVID-19 Latino Task Force, to name just a few, have stepped up to do the groundwork to improve the quality of life for Valley families in a culturally competent and effective way. Now we have an opportunity to work with building healthy communities in order to address the current health disparities and gaps in COVID-19 services, testing, and outreach. These organizations understand what it takes to reach predominantly non-English speaking communities to help improve existing health disparities, prevent the spread of COVID-19, increase health outcomes, and ultimately save lives right here in the Valley. The Central Valley COVID-19 Task Force released in their report that more than 2,000 families in the Central Valley have lost loved ones as a result of COVID-19. We can and we must do better. It is imperative that the County of Kern move forward swiftly with providing the much needed outreach and assistance to the Latino communities and other farm working communities here in Kern County. People are suffering and the help is needed right now. Assemblyman Salas looks forward to working with the Board of Supervisors and stakeholders to ensure that all communities in Kern County are represented and receive their fair share of resources to keep Valley families safe and healthy. Thank you, and that concludes my comment.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, we had one more person signed up, but I don't see them in the queue. Hold on one second.
Again, this is for public presentations, matters that are not on today's agenda specifically, but are within the jurisdiction of the Kern County Board of Supervisors.
Thank
So
you,
if
Madam.
there are items that are important to people, like this funding issue, we will be fleshing those out, and we will be taking comment from the public, and this board will take a vote on those matters. So we have time to flesh those out, but for now, these are for matters that are not on today's agenda. I didn't make that clear. That's my mistake. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We do have one more caller on the line, Tamara Dixon. Ms. Dixon, if you would unmute your phone by pressing *6, you have 2 minutes to address the board.
Morning. Thank you for allowing. Good morning. Can you hear me?
We can. Thank you and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, members of the board, for allowing the opportunity to speak. I own 2 local businesses downtown, and I have been out of work due to the COVID. My businesses were shut down in March. This has been a very, very trying time, and there's been a number of things that have been done to help, and I appreciate that very much. I have had the opportunity to talk to Leticia Perez's office. I've attempted to reach Andre Gonzalez, my councilman downtown. But I would ask that the county supervisors please revisit the order that the governor had put into place to help small businesses so we would not have to deal with unlawful detainers during this time while we are trying to get back up and going. And like I said, both of my businesses in the downtown area have been closed since March. I've been in contact with my landlord about the fact that the governor has shut me down. I'm shut down because of the governor's orders. It's not my doing that has closed my business, but these orders of COVID. All of my staff has been unemployed. I did not receive any assistance, whether that's the federal assistance or the Kern recoveries, any of that. I keep getting letters that those funds run out. I am in the process of applying along with other business owners to the newest rounds. But the governor's order does give us some peace of mind about, even though the county will do what they need to for business and process these at the court level, it gives our landlord the ability to reserve his rights. But acknowledging that stay and giving us until March 31st, 2021, as that order stated, gives some reprieve that we don't have to have someone knocking on our door, following and chasing us to our homes. That additional added stress right now, why we have the opportunity to start working towards reopening and getting those things, we don't need that. So I please beg the board to reconsider the order that came from the governor, and that Kern County please adopt that, and please be on board, and those hearings be placed in April of 2021. I have no problem. That gives me the opportunity to figure out if I'm selling, get open, get my staff back working again, or if I'm just going to close up and move out of the county because it can't work here anymore. But that additional stress of the unknown, I know in talking with Christian, he tells me certain things, and I appreciate him taking the time and listening to me and giving me his opinion. But when I turn around and call the Kern courthouse and I talk to different court clerks and they tell me that Kern County is not acknowledging the governor's orders, that is when I start to panic, because those people are the ones doing it on a day-to-day basis. So I thank you for listening to me. Please, please reconsider adopting this order from the governor to help protect small businesses, because all this is going to do, if you don't, is there's a lot of us that are just going to close and move out of the county and find somewhere else to do our business.
That's terrible.
Thank you.
Ma'am, thank you so much for your call and your concern and your particularly civil manner of bringing your consideration to this board. I really appreciate it, and I'm so sorry for your challenges, sincerely. Thank you for your call. This board is constantly mulling our political positions and our relationship with the Capitol. It is a precarious and complicated time, but certainly our heart and efforts are with Kern County and with maintaining what we have. So thank you for your call and your time. I certainly appreciate it. I know my colleagues do.
Madam Chair, that concludes public comment for this morning.
Okay, so we are done with item
Excuse me?
6. I'm sorry, is somebody there? Hello? Kathy, is someone on the line?
No, not that I can tell.
Okay, thank you. We're going to move to board member announcements and reports. That's item number 7. Board members on their own can offer information, ideas to the public and to this body. So, gentlemen, do you have anything? Okay.
Madam Chair.
Oh, yes, Mike, I'm so sorry. I didn't
That's
see
okay.
you plugged in there. Supervisor Maggard.
Thank you. Would this be the appropriate time for Mr. Constantine to give us an update on where we are with our efforts to reopen?
Yes, and also yours and Supervisor Scrivener's ad hoc committee updates.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
So thank you.
I think we'll just let Matt explain a bit. We have continued to have good news, but explain to us, please, Matt, Mr. Constantine, rather, where we are and how it appears that we're trending.
Supervisor Maggard and Madam Chair, thank you. Today we are reporting 54 new cases and unfortunately 3 new deaths. However, today also the state is announcing their weekly metrics. So those will be announced later today. But our numbers continue to do well in this in regards to the state metrics. So our case rate, this is the 7-day average case rate, and it's got a lag of 7 days, is 5.7, and the adjusted case rate is 6.2. And again, as we now have transitioned into the red tier, we're now got our sights set on the orange tier. We have to be at 4 or below to then progress out of the red tier for the adjusted case rate. Our testing positivity is 4.4%, which is lower, which is terrific. And in fact, that now meets the orange tier. We've improved again. So we've transitioned from that red tier, and now this testing positivity is meeting that new, more restrictive tier, which is good. And then finally, our health equity metric. These are those lowest quartile aggregate testing positivity rate that we need to look at. We are at 5.5%, which is again a good number. In order to progress further into that next less restrictive tier, we have to be at 5%. All of these metrics need to be met for 2 weeks before we can be considered to move into the next less restrictive tier. But the numbers are trending better, down since last week. So that's good news. And then finally, our testing rate. The state is releasing this morning that Kern's average testing rate is 194, and that's per 100,000. And we're being compared to the state's median testing rate of 239. What that means is we've improved. We've narrowed that gap. And in fact, we've made improvements. We still need to improve more so that adjustment to the case rate gets removed. Right now, we need 414 additional tests per day to meet the state's median. So we've made improvement. We've cut that number down. We still need some more effort, but it's narrowing the distance between the two. Madam Chair and Supervisor Maggard, if there's anything more, I'd be happy to discuss.
Thank you, Mr. Constantine. Could you just, maybe I didn't take a proper note here, but what is the orange level standard, again, for case rate it is 4.0, right?
For case rates, for orange, it has to be below 4%. Yes, sir.
And we're at 6.2 adjusted.
Yes, sir.
And what is the state standard for the orange level for positivity?
For testing positivity, it has to be below 5%.
5%, and we're at 4.4, so that looks pretty good.
Yes, sir.
And then for health equity, we're at 5.5, and the standard is 5.0.
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good, thank you. So we hear in the news that numbers are climbing in Middle America and across the country. Can you give us any idea of how are our numbers trending? Are they any higher than they were a week ago, or what are your thoughts about that?
So we have watched with a lot of interest what's happening not only in the nation but in the world, as we have seen areas that are struggling with numbers. They have seen a rise in some of their case rates. That is a concern to us. We watch that carefully, but in California and specifically in Kern, our numbers are trending down. So far we're okay. As we watched previously, California was affected towards the latter end of this last increase, so we're worried that could occur, but we're doing okay as it stands today.
And our hospital capacity can you give us some feel of that? I'm sure it's very good, but.
Yes, sir. The hospital capacity continues to do very well. As of October 18th, our available beds are 972 cumulative for all 10 acute care hospitals. We have 56 staffable ICU beds collectively. Those are good numbers. We have 55 COVID hospitalized patients in Kern County and 17 in the ICU.
Thank you. As I recollect, the standard for schools, both private and public, to reopen, those that don't already have waivers, every other private and public school, are they not able to reopen when we have been in the red tier and remain in the red tier for 2 weeks? So we are 1 week into that process, correct? Yes. If we are good again in the red next Tuesday, then thereafter could not private and public schools open if they choose?
Supervisor Maggard, it's actually even better than that. Since we met the red tier last week, schools are allowed to open regardless of how the county performs in the subsequent 2 weeks, as long as they make their intent known that on October 28th they wish to open. So even though we're still doing well, it doesn't affect their ability, and many have decided and publicly declared on their website or with the superintendent of schools that they are going to partially open on the 28th.
My understanding is Bakersfield Christian High School and Garces High School have both indicated they're opening immediately, the first opportunity. So that is good news. So thank you for that.
It's important to note that when schools do open up, they still must meet the restrictions, the modifications that the state has issued about masking and distancing and cleaning. But clearly they're able to now fully open if they choose.
Very good. Thank you. Supervisor Scrivener. Is that with Madam Chair's indulgence? May I transfer the mic?
Of course. Thank you. Are you done then, Supervisor Maggard, as it relates to your update?
Yes.
Thank you. Great questions. And then Supervisor Scrivener.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Supervisor Maggard covered, I think, all the major points that were on my mind. I did want to reiterate the situation with the schools. When this was first announced, as far as us going in the red tier, there was some misinformation in the media. I think your office did a good job to try to clean that up and make it clear. But parents need to be aware that if they're wanting their kids back in school, they need to be contacting the superintendent's office, their elected school boards. That's not a county of Kern decision. It's not a board of supervisors decision. That's a decision by the individual school districts. And also there is, do you think that there is value for a school district if they have intention to open at some time during this COVID, that they should make that declaration sooner rather than later in case you see an uptick and we might move into purple? I know that if you've made that declaration, if you've opened, even if we did move back into the most restrictive tier, the purple tier, they could remain open. But for those that hadn't made that declaration or open before that may happen, then they're going to be left out. Do I have that right?
Supervisor Scribner, through the chair, you have it right. And in fact, it's important to note that they just need to indicate that they wish to open in the future. They don't physically have to open on the 28th. They can make plans to do so. It might take some time and they might want to phase it in. This is their opportunity to uncouple themselves from the county metrics.
Thank you. I think that's an important clarification for everybody to know, and so we appreciate that. Thank you so much for everything that you and your staff are doing. I think we've made great progress, and we just need to stay diligent. And I know that our community is taking this serious to the extent that it is appropriate. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Constantine. Do you have any other information you'd like to provide? Mick, do you have any questions of Matt? Okay. It looks like we're ready then to move on past this update. Okay, very good. We're going to move to item number 29 under Public Health Services. Mr. Constantine, we are calling on you quite a bit. Sorry to put you on the spot while you're grabbing your materials, but thank you again. Item number 29, for the record, is COVID-related, of course, and it is involving a proposed retroactive agreement with Kern County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce for the Latino Task Force COVID-19 services from August 1, 2020 through June 30, 2021 in an amount not to exceed $365,000. Mr. Constantine, first of all, again, I want to thank you for your enthusiasm, your warmth, and welcome of Latino leaders in this community who are working really hard to be creative in this time to get messaging out and use all the methodologies available. I hear nothing but good things about how warm people feel, by the county because of you, and how clearly focused you are on getting a message out to, our Latino brothers and sisters in this community. So I just want to say thank you. You have a great reputation and people feel welcome in this process. Doesn't mean we always agree. You know how government is. It's complicated. But certainly you have made a profound difference in welcoming and giving folks warmth in this process. So I want to say thank you. The floor is yours.
Madam Chair, just very briefly, Jay Tamsey and the Kern County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and as you've indicated, the Latino Task Force have been terrific partners, not only in this proposed agreement, but in all the efforts we've had in the past on trying to get businesses reopened and try to get the information out to them so that they can make some informed decisions about how to plan their business. So this agreement in front of you is designed to address the health equity metric. It's focusing very narrowly on those 35 census tracts where the state has indicated we need to do better. We need to drive down the testing positivity rate, and we need to focus on those 35 census tracts. So this agreement in front of you is designed just to do that, and we have listed out a number of objectives and deliverables we want the Latino Task Force to achieve. They're going to assist in identifying locations where we place our mobile testing site. They're going to raise awareness and education about the importance of testing. And as you have made mention, Madam Chair, through the use of some of our Latino leaders in our community that are well respected, they have promised to lead by example. They are going to create announcements and messaging and public service announcements and commercials. They want to create a hotline to help educate individuals how to properly isolate when you're potentially been in contact, what that actually means. There's confusion about the degree of isolation that's needed. and some ability to provide some mental health referrals regarding fears and perception, and then linkage with care, food distribution. There's a whole list of objectives that we hope to achieve. This is funded completely through money that the state gave us specifically for this purpose. They gave the Public Health Department about $8 million. A portion of that will then be used to fund fully this proposed agreement. Madam Chair, that concludes my brief comments.
Well, thank you, Matt. We had a press conference recently,
Yes,
and it was, really encouraging to see Robin Mangren of Dignity there, and they are, of course, paying for a whole host of tests, that they're working in conjunction with the task force to make sure that, that is happening in a way that makes sense and, really moves the needle on this. So it isn't just Latinos, not that there would be anything wrong with that, but it's good to be inclusive and branch out to other expertise, which I see this task force doing, and I think that's so helpful. And, really a thank you to Dignity for coming in with testing and with being aggressive on the ground and being on the front line of an issue that we know we can do so much good on, when we are focused. So, Matt, thank you. I think this is an excellent new opportunity. It does not come from the general fund. These are not county dollars. So the county taxpayers should be aware of that and know that these are outside funds that we've competed for and we're ready to move forward on. So thank you, Matt. I think we're going to, I see Supervisor Maggard has, is that from now, Mike? Before, forgive me. So we'll see where this goes. Thanks. Kathy, what do we have by way of public comment?
We have no public comment, written, or speakers waiting to address the board on this item.
Good, very good. And I would like to say too, Matt, you don't have to get up. I just want to say for the public's benefit, how grateful I am to Jay Tamsey for his aggressive approach on mental health issues. That's a tough subject. Nobody likes talking about it, although all of us should be talking about it all the time, particularly as it relates to Corona and its impact on our communities. And I appreciate that because it's a sensitive subject and not a lot of people would do that. And Jay has not shied away from that. And I think that's honorable. So I want to say that to the public and to say thank you to Jay. So Supervisor Scribner.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to thank the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and Jay Tamsey in particular. He's been a part of our ad hoc advisory committee on COVID-19 that Supervisor Maggard and I have helped to organize. We reached out to a lot of different business leaders, and they've been really instrumental in helping us to navigate some of the early days of COVID, back when we had some businesses that were in the essential list, those that were in the non-essential list, but there was a gray area there for a while that helped us to navigate. So certain businesses that were not explicitly listed as being able to open or not open, we were able to help several of them. And so I just once again want to appreciate his leadership, and I'll make a motion to approve staff's recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you, Zach. Supervisor Gleason.
I just wanted to say that I'm proud to support Jay and the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and I'll second the motion.
Thank you, Supervisor Gleason. Supervisor Maggard.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to say something about how much I appreciate the Hispanic Chamber under Mr. Tamsey's leadership, but also the Latino Task Force that has come together to come up with strategies about this. They really have, I won't say everything that Supervisor Scribner just said over again, but they really have stepped up and done exactly what we needed them to do, and just jumped every time there was an opportunity to be helpful. So I'm thankful to them, grateful to them, and look forward to moving forward to get through this pandemic we're in the midst of.
Thank you, Supervisor Maggard. It looks like we have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved, 4 ayes, 1 absent. Supervisor Couch.
Okay, very good. Moving along to item number 31. Just so we're clear, we have items 31 and 32 left on the agenda, 32 having been pulled. So let's do 31. Under Public Health Services, Mr. Constantine, nice to see you again. And I want to thank you, Matt, for this proposal to this board. I don't know where it's going to go, because I've seen these kind of challenges before. But I just want to say to you personally, Matt, thank you for your openness and willingness to work with groups and organizations that have a tremendous trust on the ground with the people and are working hard to be creative and to do their job as good Americans. So I appreciate your openness. I think that the whole group has been quite stunned at you and its view of the county because of that. I think that's really striking. So I want to say thank you, and the floor is yours.
Madam Chair, thank you. This item, again, is in a similar vein. This is in a proposed agreement with Building Healthy Communities to address issues in those 35 census tracts. But this agreement is more specific to actual canvassers, individuals that would go door to door, that would do outreach and education about the need to take preventative measures and also to seek testing in some of those high positivity census tracts. Again, this is money that is provided by the state in a similar method, and they, in the agreement, in the proposed agreement, have a list of objectives and deliverables that they are proposing to meet. So, Madam Chair, that concludes my initial comments.
Okay, thank you so much. Mr. Constantine, I understand that I don't see anybody punched in yet, so we'll wait to take comment from the public and then come to the board for questions and direction. So what do we have, Kathy, by way of public comment?
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the board. You received 2 emails, one from Jesse Rojas with a letter attached. You also received an email from, Jesse Rojas represents California Farm Workers and Families. You also received an email from Robin Robinson representing CityServe. Mr. Rojas is on the line. We have 3 speakers who would like to address your board regarding this item. So we're going to start with Mr. Rojas. Mr. Rojas, if you would unmute your phone by pressing *6, you may address the board.
Hi, Mr. Rojas, are you there? Good morning, welcome.
Okay, I don't see Mr. Rojas signed in. He was earlier, but let's go to the next speaker, Kamala Chavez. Ms. Chavez, if you would unmute your phone by pressing *6, you may address the board.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, welcome. We can hear you.
Great. My name is Camila Chavez. I'm the Executive Director of the Dolores Huerta Foundation. We have over 16 years of experience serving Kern County communities. Our most recent partnership with the County of Kern was in conducting outreach for the 2020 census. DHF was a founding member of the Kern Complete Count Committee and brought many organizations to the table to develop a comprehensive outreach plan to reach the hardest to count neighborhoods to bring the needed resources to Kern County. DHF was one of many organizations to receive a grant from the County of Kern, and I am proud to report that our organization surpassed our goal of reaching 22,400 people to actually educating over 33,000 Kern County residents. Our outreach consisted of door-to-door canvassing, community outreach events, and phone banking. This was no easy task. Despite the limitations of COVID and the temporary suspension of our canvassing efforts, DHF still surpassed our goal. Since March, the Building Healthy Communities Collaborative has been working diligently to support Kern's residents most impacted by COVID. Collectively, we have provided over $800,000 of financial assistance to thousands of families. We've distributed PPE to thousands of farm workers and other essential workers. We've organized food banks and distributed tons of food, as well as supported families and their students during the challenging transition to virtual learning. For months, we have been meeting with the Public Health Department to develop this important partnership and provide support during this crisis. The farm worker rural communities, low income, and communities of color are the most impacted. We have established a diverse coalition of grassroots organizations who will provide the life-saving information to Latino, African American, Punjabi, and indigenous Mexican communities who speak Mixteco, Triqui, and Zapoteco. The outreach workers who have been recruited speak multiple languages and live in the respective communities we are serving. Our communities are in crisis, and this work cannot wait. We all have the same goal, to open up our businesses and schools here in this county. On behalf of the Building Healthy Communities Collaborative, we thank the board for your consideration to foster this crucial partnership. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your call. Who do we have? Kathy waiting.
Our next speaker is Noe Paramo. Mr. Paramo, if you would unmute your phone by pressing *6, you may address the board.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members. Noe Paramo, representing California Rural Legal Assistance Foundation. We are a statewide nonprofit legal services office serving low-income rural farm worker communities. Sierra Lake Foundation is in support of item 31, to contract with the Building Healthy Communities and the key anchor community-based organizations to provide outreach and education canvassing in a preventive manner to the underserved, hard-to-reach populations that continue to be at risk at work and in their homes in Kern County. This is urgent matter that needs to be addressed today. The organizations are well-positioned to conduct the outreach and education activities and meet with the new health equity metric that the county is being asked to provide. Sierra Lake Foundation is worked with the Building Healthy Communities Kern for Health partners and know that these communities can conduct these activities and will help build health and avoid pandemic issues within these challenged communities. We thank you for your consideration and ask for your aye vote on this item. In addition, since you pulled item 32, Sierra Lake Foundation stands in support of the communications and outreach strategies with Adelante strategies. Ethnic media composition is critical in doing hand-to-hand work with item 31. So thank you very much, and we look forward to your aye vote.
Thank you very much.
Madam Chair and members of the board, that concludes public comment on item 31.
Okay, wow, I was expecting more than that. Here we are. Okay, this gives us good time for a robust discussion this morning. I think it's going to be a long one. So Supervisor Scrivener, I see you've punched in. Your thoughts?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I won't be long, so hopefully we don't go too far into the afternoon on this. But obviously, our ad hoc committee, county public health, members of our community, business community, et cetera, we've all been working very hard to bring our numbers down as the governor has mandated, so our businesses can open and remain open, and we've made great progress there. The efforts of the Latino Task Force, as well as all of our partners that we've been working with are getting us there. We're moving through the tiers. The work that we are looking to have accomplished here is going to be important, but I do want to express some concerns with this particular contract. The size of the contract is something that obviously grabbed my attention when I first heard about it. But what occurred subsequent to that is I had received some communications from people, some calls from folks that were, a few that were concerned about some of the Facebook activity of this group. And the thing with social media, it can be a blessing and a curse, but I think it always can reveal a lot about an organization and what their priorities are. And unfortunately, what I saw on their Facebook page over the course of June and July were 10 posts that were calling for the defunding of both the Kern High School District Police Department, eliminating police in our high schools, and also defunding of the BPD, a campaign to try and get folks to sign petitions, to show up, to make calls, send emails to the Bakersfield City Council to defund the Bakersfield Police Department. And respectfully, I don't think that that fits in with the opinion of the majority of the County of Kern. I think that that is a radical political agenda that gives me great pause in awarding a contract with an organization that took on that cause. I think to myself, after the hundreds and hundreds of law enforcement officers that have been injured throughout the country with all of the protests, the rioting, the billions of dollars in property that have been destroyed, I think how our sheriff's department, our deputies, and our law enforcement throughout the county would feel if the County of Kern contracts with an organization that is calling for their defunding. We here in Kern County did the opposite. We gave more money to the Sheriff's Department because we saw a need. The Bakersfield City Council is planning to give more funding to their police department, and I think that that's the right direction. I think the law enforcement needs more resources, not less. Other organizations have reached out with interest in applying for the services. We have a couple emails from two of those. This is Kern County, we're not Seattle. This is where we support law enforcement and where we want more resources to go to law enforcement. And so I want to ask a question, though, of Mr. Constantine. Mr. Constantine, this is a retroactive contract. And so how does that work? What services have been rendered? What are we required to pay at this point if the board doesn't move forward and we explore some of these other avenues with these other organizations that are interested, that quite frankly don't have this issue that I think is a very important one for us to get to the bottom of.
Supervisor Scribner, through the chair, we acknowledge the unusual position that we've put the board in. Our interest was to be able to move quickly. At the time, we had some higher testing positivity rates, so there was a lot of pressure on us to try to get everything done we could. So there has been some cost incurred by BHC since the beginning of October. I think that we need to pay them for the costs that they've incurred, but moving forward, we can explore additional options. As you've mentioned, you've already received 2 or 3 different opportunities for different groups that we'd like to explore. Then we think the need remains, but we'd like some time then to quickly review those and to figure out if there's other methods to achieve the same goals. So it is an unusual position, but I think we can get past it and move on and start the work back up.
Thank you, Mr. Constantine. Madam Chair, those are all my comments that I have, but I won't be able to support item number 31 today. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Zach. I have some questions for you, if you don't mind. So you said you saw some Facebook posts. What group was that from, Zach? That BHC or another group? I haven't seen them, for the record.
Sure, yeah. They were posted by the administrator of the site. I'm
sorry, well, whose site is it? That's my question.
I'm sorry, Building Healthy Communities.
It is BHC. Okay, got it. I wasn't sure if it was Dolores Huerta or BHC.
No, it was, BHC, and I think that's an important distinction, and so I appreciate the question.
Okay, thank you. So I would like to know the standard for political controversy that you are going to hold Mr. Rojas to and the city served people. So we're clear with the public what a behavior politically is acceptable to you and this board and to others. Because I look at people that are interested in this money, they're extremely controversial, extremely partisan, extremely ideological, which is their right to be. I don't bother these individuals or criticize them normally, but that is who they are. Again, their American right. So I would like to know the standard that you're going to hold these people to when they come forward and ask for money from the county, and they have some kind of political opinions that are controversial to some people. Can we flesh that out?
I don't have a specific standard, and I don't think that I'm holding this organization to a particular standard either. I feel that the call to defund our law enforcement in Kern County strikes at the heart of our need to support our men and women in uniform. I feel that that is not what the majority of my constituents believe we should be doing. And so for that reason, I think that we need to explore other options. And, you know, I don't want to, I'm not looking to make this a debate about all the different political positions that are acceptable and what aren't. I'm telling you, for me, that one is not acceptable. And so that's why I'm not going to support this contract. Thank you.
Thank you. I 100% respect that, Zach. I want to be consistent moving forward because I see political actors have their hands in all of this. I would like to know, for future applicants, we know that defunding the police is too controversial for you. I totally respect that. I'm not a supporter of that position. I have an excellent relationship with law enforcement. I intend to keep that. But I would like to know, since this last-minute 11th hour draw on these contracts, which appears to me to be political, I'm just going to be honest, that's fair. This body has the right to be political when it chooses to be, and if they have a majority of the actors who want to move in that direction. So I would like to know, in the 11th hour, the defunding the police is clearly unacceptable. Again, I respect that. Moving forward, how do we hold these other political actors who have opinions and who have been out making Facebook posts, who are probably scrubbing them now, given the conversation that's occurring now? How do we make that determination as a body so that we don't become partisan and we don't become political? Something we work really hard to be, Zach, nonpartisan and non-political. This to me is political. It's very clear. So I want to know, how do we move forward on these matters? Because this to me appears to be done.
Madam Chair.
So I want to know, moving forward, how do we do this?
I think that's a great question. I got the rule book right here about 501c3 organization participating in political activities. And it clearly states that they are not permitted to be an action organization as defined by any of the following three ways. A substantial part of any 501c3 is not allowed to be a substantial part of its activities which are attempting to influence legislation, which includes supporting its adoption or rejection and contracting legislators to propose, support, or oppose legislation. So I agree with Zach in the fact that I'm not supportive of this effort, but I don't completely agree with him because I don't feel that it has anything to do with defunding the police or not, although I'm not supportive of that. It is any political activity is not allowed by any of our 501c3s that we're participating with. And earlier you asked about the posts that I found. I have them right here if you'd like to look at them.
I would. Thank you, Mick. Yeah. I appreciate it very much.
No problem.
Thank you.
They clearly show that this organization is politically active, very politically active. I personally don't like their politics, but that's my business and not theirs. But as a board of supervisors, member of a board of supervisors, I can't support an organization, a 501c3 that I want to contract with, that has political activities, significant political activities. So, Matt, I'm interested in making sure that whatever costs they have occurred, my vote is going to be to support any costs that they have occurred, get compensated for properly. And then, do we do RFPs for this, Mr. Constantine?
Supervisor Gleason, through the chair, we can. We don't, from our understanding of the rules, we don't have to. If we're going to spend above a certain amount, we do have to bring it to the board for approval. It's good to keep in mind, too, that we don't want to waste any moment, right? So we got to do this quickly, but yes, sir, there is a process that we can go through, yes.
I think we should make a broad spec. I agree with the chairwoman who's saying that it's worthwhile to clearly define our position. And if our position is that we're not going to allow these 501c3s to have political positions or advocate a significant portion of their budget or be in the public significantly, then we don't do. So if they want to do business with us, they have to be apolitical and have to be focused on the task at hand, and that's who we should be doing business with. So I agree with both Letitia. I agree with you, and I agree with Zach that we have to define our position, and my position is clearly defined. Any politics is off bounds for me. So I will make a motion to not approve item 31.
I don't know. Is that an appropriate posture for, legally speaking?
The board can take a vote on it. However, if the board chooses not to
approve the contract,
approve the item, there could be no action. If no action is taken, the item is not approved.
Okay. So I really feel I want to devote some time this morning to fleshing this out because I think it's confusing for the public. I think one particular political position is encouraged, admired, and supported from this board, and others are not. That's fair. That's politics. That's the results of elections, okay? That's our reality. But I'm very disturbed by what I'm seeing, frankly, because one, most people have political positions. That's their business. That's their right. We're not the thought police. People have the right to think and believe and love however they choose. That's their life. But when it comes to the way this board conducts its business and who it gives its money to and who it supports by pats on the back and awards or whatever it is very clear, very clear. So I would like to know for my own sentiment moving forward, as I'm working with nonprofits and groups outside of Kern County or inside Kern County or whomever, what is the standard that Kern County is purporting and supporting in its official and its elected capacity? I would like to know. Ryan Alsop, I'd like to hear your input, frankly, because I was so impressed to see this operation, asking people who are the closest on the ground to actually doing the work. Because, Matt, I think that's our real problem. We get past this political action, and we have a real problem on our hands, and that is who are the people on the ground who can communicate with the public, who are trusted, who speak multiple languages. We know that the frontline essential workers in this community that keep our billion-dollar agribusiness afloat, okay, speak many languages. There are very few entities in the state of California or this country who can effectively communicate with a group of people who are picking your food, who are putting it, getting it in the stream of Kern County's economic well-being. It's just so astonishing to me that we're still having this debate. That is about health, it is about science, it is about who can be on the front lines and do this work. And that is really, Matt, I'd like to hear from you in a moment after I ask Ryan for his position. Ryan, I'm sorry to put you in a tough political spot, but I've been put in it too, and I don't appreciate it either. So I think it would be fair if we could understand which friends are getting money and which enemies are not, if you will. I think that would be helpful.
Madam Chair, members of the board, good morning. This is an item brought to your board by Public Health. The items, I think there are 3 total, have to do and have continuity with meeting the objectives that consistently change, the state objectives that are consistently changing, an effort to meet those objectives by addressing testing positivity, education in our county, particularly among certain communities and certain areas of communities that have been identified by the state as having high positivity for one reason or another. So this is a collection of items that including the item that just passed by your board by the Hispanic, that's providing money to the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce for the Latino Task Force work. All of that is really geared toward addressing those needs. So, to your point, Madam Chairwoman, it's important that we find success. We have to have success in these areas. We need to make sure that we are able to navigate through the tiers that the governor has laid out that we have to meet in order to open wider and get our schools open. So success is important at the end of the day. But how you achieve that success and with whom is a matter of your board and up to your board. And that's my opinion.
Okay. That sounds to me like that's an arbitrary standard. I appreciate what you're saying, Ryan. Thank you. And so, Matt, can you please give me a sense of what's going to happen after this contract does not go through today? What are we going to do?
Well, our focus is, of course, driving down that testing positivity, right? We're at 5.5%. I got to get it below 5%. If your board chooses not to go in this direction, I will find another way. My job is to protect the health of the entire community and to specifically on this metric to try to meet it and do everything I can possible. So we'll find other solutions that meet the board's objectives, but also meet the state's objectives, but more importantly, improve the health of the community. We'll figure out a way.
Well, I'm going to want a full political analysis on any group that comes before here and wants some money from the county of Kern. I mean, I just think that's fair. If we're going to be consistent and be ideological in how we hand out money to do county nonpartisan work, then I feel that's going to be what we're going to do moving forward. And that's unfortunate. But otherwise, how are we fair, Matt? How do you determine who you're going to work with and start doing work in the community? Here we are now, 2 weeks, we're going to be dark. We come back and it's, we're approaching Thanksgiving and we don't have a plan. The plan that you had has been pulled in the 11th hour. And I can't imagine the frustration for you and other department heads who have to sift through something that should be purely related to health, the public health, and doing our job in a nonpartisan position. So I think this is extremely unfortunate, given the paucity of the inability of so many people to do this work in the community. That is where my concern is, in particular as we get into a cold season, the flu season, and people indoors. This just feels to me like such a dramatic step back from where we have been and the progress we have made. And so I would, as we move forward on this matter, I want to let my colleagues know now that I think it is fair and appropriate, because this has been helpful, Mick. Thank you for sharing these with me. I understand your position. Zach, I understand your position. I know we don't agree on this, but we're adults and we will move past it. But I think we should be fair as we move forward, given in particular in Kern County the political disparity in who's in power and who's in control. That makes it, I think, very difficult for some groups to navigate and understand how they can be helpful. And frankly, to get some advice about maybe what to do and what not to do and how to think about, right, a relationship with an otherwise very conservative county. So with that said, I see, Zach, is that from now or before? Okay, thank you. Supervisor Gleason, you spoke. Anything else you want to add?
No, ma'am. Thank you very much for trying to lead us into fair waters. I appreciate that, and I'll support that 100%.
Thank you, Mick. Supervisor Maggard.
Thank you, Madam Chair. These are complicated days, are they not, for all of us? And as we watch what unfolds, but cut to the chase. The issue before us is, do I want to support building healthy communities, Kern, delivering a message on behalf of all of us to our community? I am not going to support that this morning. Unfortunately, this organization has regrettably made it very clear that they, as well as attempting to do a great public service, also have a very specific political message and agenda. And I think that I know that I am not comfortable mixing those two things this morning. So I will not support granting the contract to building healthy communities of Kern.
Okay. Supervisor Maggard, thank you for your comments. Anything else from this board before we, I don't know that we need a vote, that I believe Mick made a motion. I should ask till he gets back. Or Mick, do you want to pursue a motion or just let it die? Your call.
I think we just had a major aircraft accident in China Lake. I don't know what's going on. But do we need to make a motion? Someone tell me if we need to make a motion.
We don't. Mick.
Then I don't need to make a motion.
Okay. So let's move on. Mick, if you need to step out.
I do.
Godspeed to you, Mick. Okay, gentlemen, if there's nothing more, then I'm going to move on. So let's get to the item pulled, item number 32. Supervisor Scrivener, you pulled that matter, so if you want to tee off, we're ready for you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think that Mr. Constantine is going to give a brief staff report on this, and then we'll get to the discussion. Thank you.
Madam Chair, similar to the other two items, this is a proposed retroactive agreement with Adelante Strategies to address some of the higher positivity rates in the certain census tracts. Specifically, it's for the development of multicultural marketing campaign to promote COVID-19 education and to serves as a connector between information and resources, and holding some meetings It's connected with the efforts of building healthy communities. Again, this was a proposed agreement that's funded through a state grant. That concludes my comments, Madam Chair.
Matt, again, thank you. Sure. You're a rock star. Zach, your thoughts. Floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I pulled this item because it's tied, I think, quite directly to item 31, which I had concerns about. The communications manager for Building Healthy Communities is the CEO and president of this organization. Similar comments, as I said, on the CEO and president's Facebook page about defunding the police. So it was the same concerns that I had. That's why I wanted to pull it. I don't know if the clerk, we have callers that want to speak on this item, but those are basically all my comments. I won't be supporting this either. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Zach. Madam Clerk, what do we have?
We do have Reina Olagis, who spoke prior to this item being pulled off consent. She is still on the line, so I believe we should offer her the opportunity to speak to this item.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Olagis, if you would unmute your phone by pressing *6, you may address the board if you would like.
Hi, thank you so much. So I think we're missing the point here, with item number 31 and item number 32. This is a public health issue, and this is not, we need to keep politics out of this, because communities are our most vulnerable communities that our organizations are connected to, and these vulnerable communities are some, we're losing a lot of them. They're being impacted with very high numbers of COVID, and we started this work, hiring 30 canvassers to get out there and go talk to the communities, encourage them to go to the testing, partnering with the Latino Task Force to let them know that there's a mobile testing site in their area. I think that everyone has a certain way they lie with politics, and I think that if I go to Jesse Rojas's Twitter page, I'm seeing a lot of things that I don't like there. And also, one thing I do want to say is that when I started my career, I started working for the Kern County Sheriff's Office as a crime prevention specialist. Currently, I'm serving as in the Bakersfield Police Commission or Committee to reform the police department. So I'm very happy working with them. I think we need to give more money to their Police Activities League. I was a product of the Police Activities League. And so that's what I think. I think we've done a lot. I've already hired graphic designers. They've already developed the billboards, countless graphics for our campaigns. We're getting ready to launch it. We started launching it. Our canvassers got their training this week, and so it's just really sad to see that if we don't stand with your views when it comes to politics, we're out of being considered for this contract that's really aimed at encouraging our communities to slow the spread of the coronavirus and to open Kern County fast so that we could send our kids back to school. I'm here to answer any questions you may have. I am the president of Adelante Strategies, and Adelante is an advertising agency. I only take contracts that are for public awareness. The last contract I took was for the Kern County, the County of Kern, and I did their media campaign for the census, for their census outreach efforts. And I'm also working with Community Action Partnership of Kern currently and helping them do media outreach for their Housing for the Hardest program. I just hope that you reconsider and that you understand where our communities are coming from. They trust our community, they trust our leaders, and they live in fear every day. Many of the community that we talk to are undocumented. They don't know that they need to be taking the test, even though they're not feeling symptoms. Our goal is to get that message out to them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ryan, can you give me a sense of how you think we should proceed on what Supervisor Mick Gleason described as a fair attempt to be straight with the public. What can we do about this matter? You obviously see what's going on. I don't think there's any need to pretend. I just want to know how we fix it as we move forward, because there's clearly, a particular side, if you will, that is not well positioned politically to compete or to make friends with powerful people. So, how do we think about this moving forward? Because I just think if we had a clear standard, that it would be fair and open. Maybe we need to put it on the website. Who gets to do business with Kern County? I think it's a big question. It's a good question. And since we're being forced to address it this morning, I'd like to know what you think we should do as our CAO.
Madam Chairwoman, members of the board, if you would, if you'd like to consider providing some sort of referral to my office to bring back some sort of an item for discussion or an overview of how, what our process is relative to 501C, whether they're 3 or 6 or 7 or whatever they are, what our process is, so that your board has a good understanding of how things currently stand and how we distribute money. I'm happy to do that, so that
I would like to
better
know.
informs a discussion by your board on
I
this
think
subject.
the public should know who gets money from this board. In sort of a graphic, I don't know if it's a screen, if we can do some kind of clear explanation to the public, so we don't find ourselves in this awkward position again 2 weeks before a big election. I don't like it, you don't like it, it's not fun. So I would like to avoid these conversations in the future. I don't think they're helpful, but given what's happening, I think we need some kind of spreadsheet, who gets money, what nonprofits have gotten taxpayer dollars, so we have a sense about who's doing it right. Maybe that will be helpful to these other groups to understand who's doing it right and who's has the support and monetary, the finances, or taxpayer dollars to do the work that they do. That would be so very helpful. I've always wondered it, but I've never had the time to look into it. But if we could discuss that moving forward, I'd appreciate it. Supervisor Maggard, your thoughts? I see you're punched in.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Sorry, I pushed the wrong button, so I'm in there twice now.
Oh, sorry.
Forgive me.
Oh, there you go.
As I said before, these are complicated times, and I just want to just expound a little bit more on my perspective on this. I heard Ms. Olaguez say something about if we don't stand with you, with your view, then we don't participate. Mm-hmm. Well, the reality is that what I'm looking for is somebody who doesn't have a view. I don't care, and I do not support, I don't care to, nor do I support using taxpayer money to reward organizations that have a specific political agenda. And it is, I don't have the slightest hesitation about being helpful and supportive of the efforts of the Hispanic Chamber. I don't have the slightest hesitation to be supportive of the members of the Latino leadership group that is helping to steer this, because while I might have vastly different political perspectives than them, they are now working in this effort without a political agenda. And it is clear that Ms. Olaguez's firm and the organization that we just said we weren't going to give money to they have no compunction about mixing their messages. While they are delivering one message about something they're trying to accomplish in the community, they are at the same time delivering a very specific political message, and I cannot support the political message that I see being espoused. So I will not be in support of item number 32.
Thank you, Supervisor Maggard. Do we have any other comments or questions from the board?
Yes, ma'am.
Supervisor Supervisor Gleason.
Thanks. Catching up on things here. I agree with the direction we're going. I don't like the fact that the LinkedIn page for the person who is on the Adelanto Strategies website is also listed as a current communications director for Building Health and Communities. So the two appear to me to be linked. I agree completely with what our chair lady is saying, that we need to have some type of balance and approach to separating whether a 501 is a public health organization or it's a political activist group. Either way, I don't care. I think we should have a clear way of understanding that. So whether they're putting stuff out on Facebook or whether they're wearing a MAGA hat, I think either one of those is inappropriate. And I think we have to provide the capability to confidently and effectively provide public health services, and that includes being just distancing from politics as best we can. Yes. It's not going to be pure, but we've got to hold people accountable to a standard. I'm all for that. I support that 1,000%. And I'm looking forward to moving forward from this.
Thank you, Mick. I appreciate it. And now the public can see why Mick is my favorite supervisor. Thank you, Mick. These are hard issues to try to be fair, because we have our own opinions, Mick. Right. And that's all right. And, you know, they're ours, and nobody's changing mine. I ain't trying to change yours. Right. But we've got to make some space for each other, Mick, if we're going to live civilly and, you know, in peace as best as we can. I'm committed to that. So I want to say that this has been a helpful and healthy conversation that I look forward to advancing and being a part of, because I think it will help us function better and be fairer to the public. With that said, I do not see a motion on item 32, so I'm going to assume that that dies and does not move forward, and I believe that brings us to the end of our agenda. We're going to adjourn to closed session, and then we'll be back at 2 for some more fireworks. Please stay tuned.